Welcome back to Tipping Point. I'm your host, Kara McKinney. Israeli officials are now saying that they have found evidence that Hamas terrorists were intending to use chemical weapons as part of their attacks on civilians. USB devices found inside the pockets of dead Hamas terrorists reportedly contain instructions on how to use cyanide-based chemical bombs. These USBs were found on bodies discovered in southern Israel at one of the kibbutz stormed near the Gaza Strip. In an interview with Sky News, Israel's President Isaac Herzog confirmed the existence of these instructions and said they date back to 2003 from Al-Qaeda designs for chemical weapons. He said, quote, "It's Al-Qaeda material, official Al-Qaeda material. We were dealing with ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and Hamas," end quote. Now, a friend of the show, Kyle Scheidler, Director for Homeland Security and Counterterrorism at the Center for Security Policy, went a step further, posting to X this relevant information. Quote, "Hamas and Al-Qaeda shared a common founder. They shared a common U.S.-based fundraising network. The day after 9/11, the most prominent Hamas front, CARE, shared a link directing funds to a charity, subsequently shut down for funding AQ," end quote. Joining us now to discuss all this and more is national security researcher John Rosamondo. John, thanks for being here tonight. So your former colleague Kyle Scheidler argues that Hamas and Al-Qaeda have a lot more in common than just their designs for chemical weapons. Is that true?
Absolutely. I mean, you have the same Muslim Brotherhood linked network that was active in Northern Virginia that provided aid and comfort for the 9/11 hijackers. You have groups like the International African Relief Agency that provided funding for Al-Qaeda and was supported by Hamas-linked activists here in the U.S. Then you have somebody like Abdurrahman al-Amoudi, who I personally met like 3 days after 9/11. You know, he was a upstanding member of Muslim society, as he put it, and you know, he ended up going to prison for fundraising for Al-Qaeda and for his involvement in a plot for killing Saudi Crown Prince Abdullah. So, I mean, I have a little bit of history with these guys going back to right after 9/11. And then you have rattle off Abdullah Azzam, who was a co-founder of Hamas. He also was a mentor to Osama bin Laden. So it's all part of the same Muslim Brotherhood network that if you read my book, The Arab Spring Ruse, how the Muslim Brotherhood duped Washington in Libya and Syria, the network is all there.
So given all that, when we hear Israel's president saying we're not just fighting Hamas, but we're also fighting Al-Qaeda and ISIS, that's not him just trying to be hyperbolic, is it? As you're laying out here, that's actually very, very accurate and very true about the situation.
Yes, I mean, if you look at some ISIS cyanide documents that were obtained and translated by memory in 2018, it shows that Hamas provided logistical support for ISIS in the Sinai. And the Muslim Brotherhood morphed into ISIS in the Sinai, and the Egyptian government went and claimed that Hamas provided training for the Muslim Brotherhood activists who were involved in the Tahrir Square uprising in 2011. So the different interconnections are more of a tapestry. It's just a matter of external tactics and suggestions.
Now, when we look back to October 7th, when, of course, the main attacks occurred, do we have any indication that chemical weapons, cyanide, were used, that anything like that was deployed at that time? Or is it just concerning enough that there are terrorist bodies that are found with plans for those devices? Is that just scary enough on its own?
Well, there's no evidence that they were used, but the fact that they were on these people's bodies shows that there's cross-pollination between Al-Qaeda, Hamas, in different factions within the Ikhwan Caliphate system, I guess as I call it. I mean, the other thing that you need to remember is where this manual that was found in a Manchester, UK house, came from. It was by a triple agent who stole that information from the U.S. Army.